AITA for telling my best friend that his wife is cheating on him? Part 1/3. So, I've been staring at this blank screen for about 20 minutes, trying to figure out how to even start. I've lurked here for years, laughed at the drama, cried at some of the heartbreaks, and judged strangers like I was the almighty keeper of morality. But now? I'm that stranger. Some context: I, 31M, have known my best friend, Evan, 32M, since we were awkward kids in middle school. We've been through everything together: first heartbreaks, crappy jobs, late-night Taco Bell runs where the drive-thru guy knew our order, all of it. I was the best man at his wedding 3 years ago, and I can honestly say, when I saw him standing up there smiling at Tina, 29F, I thought, this guy finally won. Tina, okay, I'll be honest. I never loved her, but I didn't dislike her either. She's pretty, charming in that Instagram influencer way, always has her nails done, and she knows how to work a room. She and Evan met at a gym, and I remember him calling me one night saying, "Bro, I think I met my future wife." And he did. Fast forward a year, they're married. Here's where things start going sideways. About 6 months ago, I was at a local bar with a couple of co-workers after work. It's not the kind of place Tina usually goes, it's more of a dive, sticky tables, cheap beer, the kind of jukebox that still has CDs in it. We're 3 rounds in when I look toward the booths and, there she is. Tina. Not with Evan. She's sitting very close to some guy I don't recognize. I don't mean, oh, they're leaning in to hear each other in a loud bar. I mean her hand was on his thigh, his hand was on her lower back, and at one point, I'm pretty sure I saw them kiss when they thought no one was looking. I froze. I literally had to blink a few times like, is this real? I wasn't even sure if I should say anything. My brain started making excuses, maybe it's her cousin? A coworker? But my gut said nope. And my gut's never wrong about this kind of thing. I didn't go up to her that night. I was in shock, and honestly, I didn't want to cause a scene in front of my coworkers. But I went home and barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Evan's stupid happy grin when he told me about their honeymoon in Italy. The next week, I tried to convince myself it was a one-off. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe they were just friends who are way too comfortable with each other's personal space. But then, 2 weeks later, I went to grab lunch at this small sushi place near my office. Guess who's there? Same guy. Same too close body language. This time, Tina was feeding him a piece of sushi with her chopsticks. I sat in my car for a solid 10 minutes after I left, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. I told myself, okay, this isn't my business. But Evan's not just some random guy. He's my brother in all but blood. If I were in his shoes, I'd want to know. I still didn't say anything. Why? Because I know Evan. He's the kind of guy who loves with his whole chest and has blind spots for the people he trusts. And he trusts Tina like she hung the moon. I was scared that telling him would destroy him, and maybe our friendship, if he decided to side with her. Then last month, the decision was made for me. It was a Friday night. Evan and I were supposed to meet up for a movie. He texted me an hour before saying Tina wasn't feeling well, so he was going to stay home with her. Cool, fine. I went alone. After the movie, I stopped by the gas station to grab a drink, and as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, I see a car I know is Tina's. It's parked outside a dimly lit restaurant on the other side of town. I'm not proud of this, but I followed her car when she pulled out about 30 minutes later. She drove straight to an apartment complex. And when I say straight, I mean like she's done it 100 times. The guy from the bar and sushi place answered the door. They hugged in the doorway before going inside. That night, I sat on my couch staring at my phone, debating whether to call Evan right then. I didn't. But the next day, I woke up to a text from Tina. Hey, can we talk? Preferably before you say anything to Evan. My stomach dropped. She knew. We met at a coffee shop. She came in wearing oversized sunglasses like she was some kind of celebrity trying to avoid paparazzi. She told me, without a shred of shame, that she and Mark, the other guy, have been seeing each other for about 4 months. It's complicated, she said. Evan's a great guy, but I feel like we've grown apart. Mark understands me in ways Evan doesn't. I asked her point blank, are you going to tell him? She looked me dead in the eye and said, no. It would break him. And honestly, I think you should stay out of it. That's when I knew. I couldn't stay out of it. Last weekend, I called Evan and asked him to come over. I told him I needed to talk about something important. He showed up in sweatpants, looking relaxed, holding a six-pack like it was just going to be a chill night. I felt sick. I told him everything. The bar. The sushi place. The apartment. The coffee shop conversation. At first, he laughed, like I just told him the dumbest rumor. Then his face changed. I could see the moment it hit him that I wasn't joking. His eyes went flat. He didn't say a word for almost a full minute. Then he said, I think you should leave. I tried to explain, but he cut me off with, get out, man. I left. That was 3 days ago. Since then, he hasn't answered my texts. I saw Tina post a picture of the two of them on Instagram yesterday with the caption, Ride or Die Redheart. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I just destroyed my best friend's marriage and our friendship in one night. I don't know if I did the right thing. AITA for telling my best friend that his wife is cheating on him? Part 2/3. So, yeah. My last post kind of blew up more than I expected. I didn't even think anyone would care enough to comment, but apparently the internet loves messy friendships and moral dilemmas. Quick update before I get into the meat of this, Evan still hasn't texted me back. I've called him twice. Straight to voicemail. And yes, I checked his socials, he's been posting, so his phone's not dead. After I left his place that night, I spent hours reading through old messages from him, trying to figure out if there were any signs that he suspected something. Spoiler, there weren't. It was just months of dumb memes, weekend plans, and the occasional, how's work? He really didn't see this coming. The next morning after I told him, I woke up to about 20 missed calls, from Tina. No messages, just calls. Which is terrifying in its own way. I ignored her. Around noon, I got a DM from her on Instagram. We need to clear some things up before you make things worse. Worse. As in, me telling my best friend his wife is cheating is worse than actually cheating. Anyway, I ignored that too. I figured my job was done. I told Evan. It was in his hands now. I wasn't going to get into some he said she said war with someone who can smile while stabbing you in the back. But 2 days later, my phone buzzes with a text from Evan's mom. Hi honey. Can we talk? It's about Evan. I've known his mom since I was 13. She's basically my second mom. So yeah, I called her right away. She told me Evan came over to her place the day after I told him. He looked like hell, hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, just broken. He told her what I said, but here's the kicker, according to her, he wasn't sure if he believed me. Why? Because apparently Tina told him I was the one making moves on her. That she turned me down, and now I'm trying to ruin their marriage out of spite. I swear to God, I almost threw my phone across the room. Evan's mom said she didn't believe it for a second, but she also said she could tell Evan wanted to believe her. And honestly, I get it. Believing me means accepting that the person he loves most has been lying to him for months. Believing her means I'm just an asshole friend with a grudge. One of those options is a lot less painful. I told his mom everything, dates, places, what I saw, what Tina said at the coffee shop. She listened quietly and then said, I believe you. I'll talk to him. For a couple days after that, I heard nothing. Then Saturday rolls around and I'm in line at the grocery store when my phone buzzes. It's a text from Evan. Can we meet? Just us. We agreed to meet at this little diner we've been going to since high school. It's the kind of place where the waitress calls you Han, and the coffee tastes like burnt dirt but you drink it anyway. He was already there when I walked in, sitting in our usual booth. He looked. I don't even know how to describe it. Tired. Angry. Sad. We made small talk for about 30 seconds before he just blurted out, "She told me everything." My stomach dropped. Apparently, after talking to his mom, he confronted Tina again. This time, she admitted she'd been spending time with Mark, but swore it wasn't physical until recently. She spun some story about how she was confused and lonely because he'd been working late. I asked him, "Do you believe that?" He stared at his coffee for a long time before saying, "I don't know what to believe anymore." Then, "This is the part that really messed with me," he said, "part of me wishes you never told me. We could have just gone on like normal." That hurt more than I expected. I get that he's in pain, but, damn. We talked for another hour. He didn't seem mad at me anymore, but he also didn't seem ready to take any real action. He said he was going to think about it. Which, I guess, is better than cutting me off completely. But here's where things get wild. Yesterday, I get a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I'm glad I did because it was Mark. Yes. The other guy. He said, "We need to meet. There's stuff you don't know." I asked him how the hell he got my number and he just said, "Tina's not who you think she is." We met at a coffee shop that afternoon. And let me tell you, if I thought Tina was manipulative before, I had no idea how deep it went. Mark told me he didn't even know she was married when they first started seeing each other. She told him she was divorced. Apparently, he only found out she was still with Evan when he saw a framed wedding photo at her place. Yes, she brought him to their house once when Evan was away. And then, get this, when he confronted her, she didn't deny it. She told him she loved them both in different ways, and that she wasn't planning to leave either of them. By this point, I was ready to throw up. Mark said he ended things with her 2 weeks ago, but she's been blowing up his phone since. He also said she told him I wouldn't be a problem, because she had dirt on me. I don't even want to know what that's supposed to mean. I thanked him for telling me and we parted ways, but now I'm stuck. Do I tell Evan what Mark said? He already knows she cheated, but hearing it from another guy might finally make it real for him. Or, it might push him deeper into denial. And then there's this gnawing feeling in my gut that Tina's not done. The way Mark said she had dirt on me? Yeah, that's the kind of thing you hear right before your life gets flipped upside down. I have this horrible feeling that if I push Evan too hard right now, Tina will just twist it into more proof that I'm obsessed with ruining their marriage. But if I don't say anything, am I just letting her win? I don't know. I can feel this thing spiraling, and part of me wants to just walk away before it gets worse. But then I think about middle school Evan, high school Evan, college Evan, the guy who's had my back through every stupid mistake I've ever made, and I know I can't leave him in this mess. I just don't know how to pull him out without getting dragged under myself. Part 2 ends here. Cliffhanger. Will OP confront Evan with Mark's story? What's the dirt Tina claims to have? Is this about to blow up in OP's face? AITA for telling my best friend that his wife is cheating on him? Part 3 of 3. When I last updated, I just met Mark, the other guy, and learned way more than I wanted to about Tina's web of lies. I left that coffee shop thinking, okay, I'll tell Evan. He needs to hear this. But that night, I just froze. I typed out 3 different texts, deleted them all. Called his number twice, hung up before it rang. I couldn't shake this feeling that Tina was already 10 moves ahead of me. That dirt comment from Mark was rattling around in my brain like a loose screw. Turns out, I was right to be worried. The next morning, I woke up to 27 unread messages. Most were from Evan. A few were from mutual friends. All variations of the same question. Dude, why did Tina say you tried to sleep with her? I sat there in bed, phone in hand, heart pounding. She'd done it. She'd gone nuclear. Apparently, Tina had gone to Evan the night before, crying, saying I'd been making inappropriate comments to her for months. She told him I confessed feelings for her at a party that, for the record, I didn't even attend because I had the flu. She claimed she turned me down, and I started this cheating rumor out of revenge. Evan, God bless him, didn't immediately believe her this time. But here's the kicker, she also found text messages from me. Screenshots. They were fake, obviously. The numbers matched mine, but the wording was so off it made me laugh out loud through the panic. Stuff like, "Hey sexy, winky face, wish Evan wasn't around so we could have some fun. I don't talk like that. Ever." But to someone already living in a fog of betrayal and confusion, I guess it looks damning enough. By noon, my phone was blowing up with people asking for my side of the story. I ended up driving straight to Evan's place. Tina answered the door. Smiling. That smile that doesn't reach her eyes. She said, "You're really making this hard on yourself, you know?" I pushed past her and called for Evan. He came downstairs looking exhausted, like he'd aged 5 years in 3 days. I told him point blank the messages were fake. That I'd never, ever hit on his wife. That Mark had told me the truth about everything. Evan just stood there, eyes darting between me and Tina like he was trying to solve some impossible equation. Finally, he said, "I don't know who to believe anymore." That cut deeper than I expected. This was my best friend, the guy who once drove 4 hours in the middle of the night to pick me up when my car broke down, and now he was looking at me like I was a stranger. I pulled out my phone and called Mark on speaker. He picked up, I told him Evan was there, and Mark didn't hesitate, he laid it all out. The divorce lie, the apartment visits, the wedding photo, everything. Evan didn't say a word. Just listened. When Mark hung up, Tina exploded. She went full soap opera, screaming, crying, accusing Mark of being obsessed with her, accusing me of being jealous of their relationship. It was like watching a dam burst. At one point, she actually said, "Even if I was with him, it's because you don't make me happy anymore." Evan's face. I'll never forget it. He didn't yell. Didn't cry. He just looked at her and said, "Get out." I think that shocked her more than anything. She started to protest, but he repeated it, calm, steady, like he'd already made up his mind. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the picture frames rattled. For a minute, we just stood there in silence. Then Evan sat down and put his head in his hands. "Why didn't you tell me the first time you saw them?" he asked. I told him the truth, that I was scared. That I didn't want to blow up his life if I was wrong. That I'd been hoping it was a misunderstanding. He nodded slowly, then said, "I'm glad you told me. Even if it took a while. That should have been the end, right?" But no. 2 days later, I get a call from Evan. His voice is shaky. He says Tina's been posting vague stuff on social media, cryptic captions, sad selfies, song lyrics about betrayal. And then she messaged his mom, trying to convince her I'd manipulated him into leaving her. I told him to block her. He said he would. The next week was weird. We hung out twice, but it was like walking on eggshells. Sometimes he'd be totally normal, other times he'd just go quiet for long stretches. I knew he was replaying everything in his head. Then Friday night, he showed up at my apartment with a duffel bag. Said he was staying with me for a while. Tina had been showing up at his work, leaving notes on his car, even knocking on his window at 2 a.m. I won't lie, part of me was relieved to have him there. It felt like old times again, playing video games until 3 a.m., eating junk food, talking about everything and nothing. But there was always this shadow hanging over us. Here's the part where I have to be honest with you guys. I thought once Tina was out of the picture, we'd be fine. But the truth is, something broke. Evan's not the same. I'm not the same. There's this underlying tension now, like we're both waiting for the other shoe to drop. Last night, he said something that's been stuck in my head ever since. You saved me, but you also took away the life I thought I had. I didn't know what to say to that. So yeah. That's where we're at. Tina's gone, for now, God knows if she'll try to slither back. Evan's crashing at my place, and I'm sitting here wondering if I'm the hero of this story or just the guy who lit the match that burned it all down. Was I the asshole? Maybe. But I'd do it again. Final thoughts from OP. Friendships don't always survive the truth. But I couldn't let him live in a lie.